gorilla stomping in a zoo. Check the vocals, animals gather right.
Hey everybody, and welcome back for day number 2 of the extreme rusty 17-year-old GMC Sierra brake change, which is going in every way wrong as possible. So, since the last video, I have been back to Napa. I brought back the calipers that I had because the guy that quoted me on them and sold them to me looked them up under 2014 GMC Sierra, not a 2004. So that's why the pads weren't fitting. It was the wrong calipers altogether. But anyways, through the jigs and reels of it all, through the thick and thin, I got the new caliper on today. I did that off camera. And now I got a slow brake fluid leak at that caliper. And no matter how much I tighten that banjo bolt, it's continuing to have a slow leak. And the flex line that it's connected to is old and goes up to the main hard line, and that's rusty, and I think that's beyond my capabilities to replace that flex hose. So for that reason, I'm trying to get this back to working order to the point where the truck is drivable to a garage, and I'll get them to do the flex hoses. Now, whether or not I want to continue on doing the full brake change out, I don't know, to be honest. I've already paid the parts, so it should just be labor for the most part other than the flex hoses. But I don't know what kind of bill that would run up, how much labor would be involved in them doing this for me. So I know a regular brake change before, when I had a Tundra, it was almost $1,000 just in labor for a full brake change. So hopefully it wouldn't be in that area, since I kind of got things started here. And I may do some more on the other wheels before I bring it in. I do have the weekend ahead of me. I won't be going anywhere with it today, I don't think. But anyways, that's where we stand right now. I'm going to continue putting this brake back together. Maybe once I got it all mounted together, I can give that banjo bolt another little tighten, if I got a bit of resistance to work with, and maybe compress that down enough to get rid of the leak for now. But I think those flex lines are due for a replacement to make this a full safe setup. Alright, so with that, I'm going to bring you guys down to the wheel. We're going to get back to reassembly and bleed the brakes and have this wheel finished. As I've been told before, do one wheel at a time. Don't get carried away. And this is a perfect example of why. Because if I don't get this back in good enough condition, it's not really drivable or rollable. So it would be difficult to get it to the garage as a result. So we'll be a little bit more cautious in how much we're diving into. Keep in mind that it's going to have to go to the garage. Alright, so yeah, respect your mechanics. Like, those guys get paid money which is worth their knowledge and their skill, and I'm going to need one to dig me out of a hole again. So with all that said, let's put it back together, give that banjo bolt an extra tighten, maybe get rid of the leak for now, and get this bled, and that's it. Let's go. To keep going with reassembly, let's start with the rotor again. Like so. And then let's get back to the saddle again. Alright, so here's the saddle of our appropriate caliper. And let's get some hardware out for that. Hardware came with the caliper. I'll just lay that down here, and let's do what we started with the other one and grease this. Alright, grease in place, and I'm just going to use going to use a separate glove for working this grease in. So slide it aside for a second. Throw on a second glove. So yeah guys, pretty much everything that can go wrong I think has. So that's it. Let's work this grease in. Again, just to prevent future corrosion, ideally. Like such. Yeah, let's get our hardware clips. This goes on this side. And then this one. This side. Alright. Not sure about greasing the clips themselves. I'm just going to rub a little bit on them. Alright, now that is ready for pads. Shed one of these gloves with the grease on it and get our pads. Brand new pads. Alright. So let's try and get these into here. Much better fit. Now there's no springs from what I can see to push the pads back again once they're compressed, so hopefully everything is as it should be. There we are. Alright, now we'll get this lined up and start our bolts. Top one started and bottom one started. Alright, so far so good. Now, which socket was it for that? That's that one. Alright, I'm just going to get this wheel turned to the side again now to get a good angle on that. Alright, so now that that is done, I should be able to turn this over. Alright, so that's on there. So next is going to be the piston. Alright, we got all that in place. One thing I'm going to do as well is just put one lug nut on the rotor to hold it in place. And that's going to help us with bleeding later as well. Alright, I think we are ready to release the piston and put it on. Everything is lined up. Our sliders, I'll have them ready. Sliders are here and they've already got some grease. I'll put another little bit on there. Like so. Alright. Find a clean place to lay these. Seems to be a bit of a challenge. Lay them there. Alright. Here we go. One slider. Get ready to start that in through here. Second slider. Just pushing the little slider boot in between properly. Gonna take a little bit of jiggling around, I think, to get it to seat. So just tightening in the sliders here now. I'll get the slider boots slid up in place then after that's done. The slider boot's being a little bit finicky, that's all. There we go. And this one's okay. Alright. That is on there. Yeah, so that is assembled. Now I'll get my 11 mil. I'm going to give that banjo bolt an extra little crank. Now that I got a bit of resistance to work with. Number 11. Alright, so I was able to get another quarter turn or so out of the banjo bolt. Whether or not that prevents me from a trip to the garage, we will see. If the leak stops, I can at least delay the flex lines until there's more expendable money around. Otherwise, good old Visa will pay for this job. I'll give that a quick little freshen up with some brake parts cleaner, especially the rotor now. And I get this lug nut tightened down a little more to hold the rotor. All right. There we are. That is the rotors and pads installed. Let's get this zip tie out of here. And now I got to bleed them. Alright, so I'm going to recruit the help of my wife for this part. And we'll have a look at this together if I can get a decent angle on it for you guys. Otherwise, I'll just get it done. Okay. Man, oh man. Old trucks. Oh man. Be ready for it. Be ready for it. Oh, when you get those outrageous prices at the machine shop, at the garage, you can probably tell why now at this point. Everything we went through just for one wheel, like, we're talking half a day and more. So, you know, you're paying for people's time and effort. So this totally puts it in perspective and makes it that much more real as to why they charge what they do. Alright, so let's recruit my wife and do some brake bleeding. So we'll be right back. Alright, so my wife is in the driver's seat. I get my 10mm socket for the bleeder. And I've got my wife to pump up the brakes. She's holding the brake down hard there now. And I'm just going to gently loosen the bleeder. Alright, so we got fluid coming out. Okay, now pump it up again. And hold. Lots of fluid coming out. Just hold it. Don't pump it. Okay, let go, pump it up. Alright, hold. Okay, pump it up. Alright, and relax. Just going to check the brake fluid reservoir, make sure we're not draining too much here. Alright, we got lots of fluid in the tank, and I think we're pretty much free of any air. Do one more bleed to be sure. Get some more paper towel. Okay, pump it up. And hold. Not seeing any air. A little squirt of air that time. Okay, pump it up. And hold. Alright, pump it up. should do it. Alright, you're good. That's it, baby. Alrighty, so we got the brakes bled. Looked like it was squeezed in the pads well. Got a solid pedal. So I'm going to give this a freshen up here now. And make sure we'll check this for leaks. Not sure if I said on video already or not. I think I did. I gave the banjo fitting another quarter turn and it took it. And I didn't see any leaking right away. I'm going to give this some time now. We'll see if any more leaks out. We may have stemmed the leak for now. We shall see. Wheel spins good. Should be able to take that lug nut off there now. And we'll get the tire back on. And we'll try out the brakes. Alrighty, so at this point in time I've given this about 10 minutes or so to see if it would develop any further leakage from the banjo fitting, and as of this point it has not. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my little retaining lug and I'll get the tire back on. And taking off tires and putting tires back on is usually my strong suit, so ideally we're at a point now where this wheel is done. And if that leak stays away, and I'll keep an eye on it for a while, that may save me a little while until, like say, I can get the money for doing the flex lines. Alright, so let's get our little tray of bolts from A Christmas Story. Hopefully a couple of you got that reference when I said it in last video. But in case you're not aware, you should watch it and go to the part where they're on their way home with the Christmas tree and they get a flat tire and Ralphie helps his dad. There you go. That's where that reference comes from, okay? Alright, one more look at the banjo fitting. No leakage so far. Following all that pumping of the brakes and bleeding and stuff, we're still good. So I'll grab the tire. Hopefully everything should still be off the ground enough that I can slip that in there. I'd like to think that nothing has sunk since I took it off, but anything's possible, especially where I jacked up the other side. But if that's the case, I'll just jack up the swing arm. And it is a bit lower, so I'm going to have to jack up the swing arm there. Let's try that now. We should be good. we are. So I'll get my air compressor charged up, get my impact hammer, air hammer, and we'll get those lugs put on. Alright, let's kick this in gear. And now that the lugs are all back on, I am going to torque them to spec once she's down on the ground. But I just want to show you now. Last time, remember we turned the wheel and it turned, but it was kind of, you know, used effort to get the whole way around. But, all right, we got nice, good travel going on here now. Clearance of the caliper, all that good stuff. This tire is done, minus the torquing. So, at this point in time, I need to decide where my confidence level is, okay? And when I say that I need to check where my confidence level is, it's because you've seen what I've gone through with one tire, alright? We're talking 2 days of being out at this, and I got one done, and it was a very big job, very big job. A lot of it probably stemmed from not having the right parts. That was probably the biggest thing that really threw a wrench into it all. Plus those seized on bolts and all that good stuff. So, you know, it'd be hard to blame me for being kind of hesitant, like, whoa, I was lucky enough to get this one done and back on. Do I stop now? Do I count my blessings and bring it to a garage and say, you know what, I did it, I did a tire, I did a caliper, I did a brake replacement, but I should stop here, or should I? We're talking $150, $175 an hour labor to bring it somewhere, and so, you know, you could be talking about a fair bill, and those flex lines will eventually need to be done. If we can get by for now, though, it would be nice. So, yeah, I don't know where I stand just yet. I'm kind of deciding. I'm happy that we got the right parts, right? So now I know I got the right caliper for over there. I got the right pads. I got the right rotor. My real hesitancy really would be just that banjo fitting going onto the new caliper. Other than that, I'm feeling good, feeling confident. So for that reason, I'm going to continue. All right. Call me crazy. You know, a lot of people would kind of be like, count their blessings and move on. I think, given what I went through with this, the left side, even if it's just as bad, it's mainly getting those seized bolts out of there and that banjo fitting. And at least I know that I can tighten it down, or I don't know, no. I figure I should be able to tighten it down to stop any leaks long enough to get it to a garage just for the flex lines. If I can put her in just for the flex lines, that should save a lot of money. Alright, if I can do the brakes. So for that reason, I'm continuing. This one turned out well. Alright, I'm going to put the hubcap cover on just to keep track of things, keep track of parts. If it'll go on. Let's see. There is a right way. There is a correct position. There we go, and we know that for the next wheel too, don't we? Alright, so let's, I gotta figure out what I'm doing in terms of jacking things up, laying things down, keeping it on stands. The frame under that stand did bend a little bit, but it held. A little bit wishy-washy on using those stands. They're so pointy. One thing I seen in that last video, I had the one point of the jack stand right in the middle of the frame. So you notice now the full weight of a truck going down on that one little point. You know, on a 17-year-old truck, you would expect a little bit of denting in the frame. I don't think we're going to be too crazy and worried of the frame failing just because it dented a bit because I put it on a pressure point. All right, so that was my mistake, and I think we're still in good shape. So I'm still confident in the jack stands. But to break the lug nuts on the other side, she's going to have to come down on the ground anyways. So I'll do that now, and then we'll keep pushing forward. The other side is very claustrophobic compared to the side that I'm working on here right now. So that's one challenge I'm going to have to overcome. Alright, let's get this on the ground. So first and foremost, get these jack stands out of here. Get this wheel on the ground, get the jack stands off the other side, and we're golden. There we go, that side is down. Now let's get this side. There she is on the ground. Let's swap over to the other side. Actually, before I go to the other side, now that she's on the ground, got my torque wrench here. Looked up the specs for the lug nuts, and they say 140 foot-pounds. So that's a good bit of torque. So I'll go all the way up to 140 with this. There's 130. So we go to the zeros around again. There we are. 140. Torque in foot-pounds. Alright, you gotta make sure you note your measurements and make sure you know how to use your torque wrench. So, let's take this cover back off real quick. And I'm going to get a standing position for this. Let's start up here. Good. Next. I must be getting old. This out of 6 lugs is make me a little bit difficult remembering which one I got done. There we are. I think that's all of them. Alright, that's done and torqued. Now we can go to the other side. So here we are on the left side now, driver's side. Can I tell you something? My confidence is shook a bit. I'm telling you right now, it is shook a little. I've even been feeling like a little bit hesitant just to do these lug nuts because I was actually feeling the tenderness in my back last night from how much force I had to do hauling on these lug nuts and on the caliper nuts. So, you know, it shakes you a little bit when you're not doing this on a regular basis to build, you know, that repertoire of bad experiences and knowing that you can overcome them. That's all right. We'll get over it. We'll get there. I think that's all. Yep, they're done. Okay. So let's get the impact hammer after I get this up off the ground. Yeah. Off the ground, off the ground. That's the next step. Put the breaker bar away. Alright, let's get back with the air hammer and jack now. Get this under the swing arm. I gotta make sure to accommodate for the suspension extension. Once I got the jack stand off the control arm. I'm being pretty careful with my jack stand placement. Hopefully I got it in the right spot there now. We'll find out. I got her, I think. Maybe. Looks like it. Looks like there's a little bit to the side. Just a smidge. I think it'll be okay. We'll put a backup one behind it again like we did before. Alright. Looks good. Let's continue. Okay, so at this point I'm going to go to the other side now. And I'm going to jack that side up, put that on a stand as well. Because being able to turn that wheel back and forth was of undeniable benefit. Alright, so let's get that up in place. Alright, now caliper's on the back, so we're going to want to turn the wheel to the right to bring the back out to us. I'll do that while the camera's rolling there and everything. Alright, now I wanted to do that while the lug nuts were still on, just to be safe in case I had any kind of a falling down, we'll say. Alright, so now I'll get the impact hammer, air hammer, and take that wheel off. tire off. A very similar picture to the previous side. Alright, so I'll get the right tools now to break the nuts loose on this. Get that blasted old torque spit again. So we know what to do with that now. Breaker bar is what we do with that. Same with the other ones. Alright, I'll go get the breaker and sockets. So to begin on this side, I'm going to start by just cleaning up these Torx heads. Make sure I get a good seal in there, because the last thing I want to do is strip one of these out. And I got my Torx 55 on there ready to go. I'll do the bottom one because that's the one I can actually get. Actually, I can get the brake bar in from underneath. Let's try that. Well, that was a lot easier than the other one. Let's try this one. This one is a little bit different. Difficult. If it's hard to get with a breaker bar, I'm sure it's going to be harder with a handheld too. But let's see. I don't think they thought these Torx bits through with the torque that you're going to have to put on. I don't know, maybe they did. But it just wants to slide out of there. I don't know how good my Torx bit is. I wonder if the air hammer. Oh, I don't want to do that though with one of these bits. No, that just slipped out of there. I'm going to try a little bit of grease on it, see if that'll help. It doesn't want to stay in there for some reason. Biting as good as the other side. It's hard to get a good grip on it because it just pops out. Let's see. It's beginning to strip. I thought these Torx bits were supposed to be good. Maybe for construction, building construction or something, but brake calipers, I don't know. That's not the brightest idea. This is all going to depend on this slider bolt. If this strips out, that's it. It becomes a garage deal. At least I'm not too far into it yet. But I'm going to try some more. I'm also going to check my impact set to see if I got a torque spit in the impact. Alright, one last ditch thing. I'm going to do a no-no. That's using my regular set adapters on impact. But this is a low powered compressor, so I'm going to get down on the floor for this. That's it. Fingers crossed, everybody. Let's see what this does. I'll let the compressor charge up again. It didn't skip, so that's good. Let's kick in the compressor and get her charged up to full. Did I turn off the compressor maybe? I should have kicked in by now. There it is. Okay, compressor is full. Let's try again. No, sir. Leave it loose. I'm sure a mechanic would probably have heat put on it by now, maybe. Something like that. I don't want to give up on it. Alright, so I've tried the air hammer, I've tried this, banging it with a hammer, I've tried brute forcing it with my hands, my arms, and this last Torx bolt just doesn't want to come out, this slider. I've tried WD-40 on the bolt, I've tried trying to knock it around a little bit with the hammer to see if it would loosen it up a smidge. Yeah, I'll give it a couple more tries, but that may be it for the front here. Let's see. hard to hold the ratchet and smack with the hammer because the tip wants to come down off of it. So I'll try a smaller ratchet. I don't see this being any different, but it eliminates a little bit of the extension to take some of the distance away. Like I say, this thing is barely even biting in anymore now at this point. She wants to skip. And the worst part is that I loosened the other two bolts for the bracket just to test and see if they would come off, and sure enough they're loose. So it's really just that one slider that's in the way of doing this job. One thing I'm going to try, I don't expect success, but I'm going to, you guys are probably getting blasts of air there, right? Because I got you in the doorway. It's coming in. See if I can hold this in place with this clamp so that it doesn't slip so much. I don't know. It's a very long shot. Very, very long shot. Don't see that working. Man, oh man. Talk about one thing getting in your way. Like, gosh. Like I say, I don't have the tools to be putting hot flame on this to try and expand it out. And so yeah, doing a 17-year-old truck in your own garage, I don't know, what to be said. So yeah, I'm just going to try this a little bit more. I don't know what else to throw at it, to be honest. I wanted to try my DeWalt cordless impact, but I don't have any adapter pieces to work up to this Torx bit to be able to even give that a try. So that's it. Hopefully the WD-40 penetrates a bit and loosens it. I don't know. This, we're at an impasse here. So yeah, I'll try another little bit. And if it ain't gonna jive, I'll come back and we'll finish this video off here. Alright, boys and girls, I got a newfound hope. And that hope is that that slider can stay right where it is. Alright, enough with that slider. Throwing in the towel on that slider. The two bracket bolts on the back that holds the whole caliper to the wheel, I got them loose. So putting two and two together means I take those bolts out all the way and take the whole darn caliper off the truck in a single piece, send it back as a core, and let them deal with it. Alright, that's the realization I'm coming to. And let's see. 18 there, needs a 19. So yeah, two bolts on the back. Rip this whole thing off as it is. And I don't need to worry about it. How did I not think of this sooner? Alright. Needs an extension. Where's my extension? Gotta go get an extension. Alright, because what am I doing? Let's see, slider, if the whole caliper comes off, sliders and all, bracket and all, then we're just down to the banjo bolt and putting on a new caliper. So yeah, let's take the whole bloody thing off. There we are. That's one way of doing it. It's off. Now, I gotta get that strapped up out of the way. Or I can just go for the caliper swap now. Right? It's gotta happen. This ain't going back on. Alright, let that balance there. I'll get the new caliper. And we'll get that on. Alright, you guys might have to put up with a little bit of wind noise. I'm gonna try and get this caliper on. So first of all though, I need to disassemble the new caliper. And of course it has Torx bolts. So I'm going to use my current setup that I have and take those out. Oh my, I can't even get out the newly assembled one, sure. Alright, let's try again now that the compressor is finished filling up. Put a bit of shop towel in my lap here. There's a little bit of grease in the sliders and stuff. Okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, I didn't realize. I forgot the bracket just slides off there. Even with the sliders fully tightened. Alright, good to know for that one as well, I guess. Let's see if we can get these. Now the question is, do I even need to take these out now? Yes I do. Yes I do. Okay, let's try it again. They really jam them in there, don't they? Oh, sir. Even a brand new one doesn't want to come apart. Man, oh man. It's a bit frustrating, folks. Brand new stuff and you can't even get it apart. They really set it up. Let's see, maybe I'll step on it. Oh, I tried to loosen these. I have to bring this back and put it in the vise yet to get these out. Holy moly. That's what I'm going to do. I'll be back. Alright, let's get this opened up enough. There we go. There. Come on. What kind of design is that? the breaker bar on a brand new piece. I can understand not wanting to come apart, but it's brand new finish. Like, come on. That one went. And this one's getting stripped. Come on. Let's try the impact on it again. Brutal. I had a feeling these torques were going to be a problem. No, sir. Same thing is happening with the one that's on her now. If I get this off, I'm going to have to go back for new slider pins anyways. This one's getting stripped. It's ridiculous. I can't believe I'm putting heat on a brand new piece. Can't believe it. time of day is it? 5 o'clock. So Napa's closed for the weekend. And look at us. Cripes. This is a brand new part. Brand new part. Really. Like sure, that was left-handed and all, but still. That was a good bit of torque I just put on it that time. Oh, I got it. Oh, man. Well, Napa is closed, so no new slide pin today, and I've returned the ones that I had, of course. Oh, man, oh man. Dudes, what is hot? Dudes, oh dudes, oh dudes. Alright, slider pins are out. We can get a new set on Monday. Calipers otherwise new, right? So let's ditch these garbage Torx heads. Right. Excuse me. And oh my. I'm right upset. I'm right upset here now. This defies all logic. Getting new parts. It's probably still hot. Alright, now hell with it. Let's bolt this on. See what other mess we can get into with that banjo fitting. And almost we'll leave this to the end. That'll be the last thing to be reattached. Alright, back over to the wheel we go. Sorry for the outburst if you're upset by that. But, you know. Alright, off we go. Oakley dokley. With all that out of the way, let's get this puppy ready to go. Take out the plug. Let this done. Get this set here ready to go. Get an 11 mil on this banjo bolt. That's a 10 actually. There's my 11. Okay. Now, let's get this on over the rust. Here's my persuader. I must have left it at the bench. Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can convince this to come off. As I hit the camera multiple times. Now, what's next? Get the banjo bolts ready. Copper nuts, copper washer I should say. Get that one on there like so. Crank on this one till she's wide open. And then just like Lady Gaga would say, rain on me. And that's what the brake fluid is doing. Oh, I forgot about this part. Come on, let's see if this washer will come off easier than the other side did. I don't think so. Hold on, I get my snips. Snipping time again. See if that'll do. Maybe. I'm gonna run out of time on the camera. It's almost full. And it's dripping, so I can't stop. You guys might come back to this being done if I don't get it soon. Oh man. Alright. Let's get this in here. New caliper up here. Right, yeah. Alright. Alright, let's see if that's tight enough not to leak for a bit. It's still leaking because guess what I did? I forgot the copper nut or the copper washer below. So don't forget that. Alright, let's try this again. Alright, so we are back. I had to stop for a second and empty the memory card. We got her filled up, so you guys, you're already into a very long video, I'm guessing, by the time you're at this point now. Anyways, we're going to finish, let's get rid of the old rotor that's been wanting to come off for a while. Hub's in great condition. I don't even need to brush that one off this time. And let's straighten this up. I'll get our new rotor. Let's do the same thing I did to the other side as well. This here. A little bit of lube. Let that drip so that when it starts spinning it doesn't get all over the rotor. Let her dry up a bit. Ideally you'd use a thicker grease if you're going to do that. Just wanted to put a little coating on there for some of the drips. Alright, so now I will go and get my rotor, and then we're going to get the pads put into the saddle, and we should be good to start putting things together. I'm probably going to put the slider pins in for now, them old Torx ones, just to have it all together, and then I'll swap them out. I think Napa is open tomorrow, so I can go and get those sliders. So go get the ones that I already brought back. Silly me. I brought them back because the calipers had everything, as far as I thought. But I do not want to put those Torx back on there in case I want to do these brakes again myself. If the truck lasts that long to do more brakes. Alright, I'll go get the rotor now. Alrighty. Let's find something a little bit sharp. Sorry if you guys are getting any wind noise. I do have the camera back away from the door now. But the evening is starting to be gusty. The wind is coming in. Alright, so these rotors definitely need a brake parts cleaning because of the cosmoline and stuff. I'll do that when they're on though. This time. Okay. Now, time for clean hands. So I'll go get my grease, and that should do. Yeah. Alright, be right back. So here we are, we got the new saddle, new hardware, some grease. Needs another set of hands here. Alright. Get up there, right there, here. Same on the side. Like such. Open up the hardware first. Alright. Let's get this smoothed out. There we are. Now let's see how fancy I can be at ditching this outside glove with the grease on it. There we are. And let's get the hardware on. So a small one to this side. There's one. There's two. Okay, get my two bolts, and yeah, let's line it up. This is going to go like this. Try not to get grease on the rotor, although I'm going to give it a little cleaning when we're done. Let's see if I can get this top one on first. Get the pads in there. Again, watching the grease. There's one. There's two. And down over we go. Okay, looking good. Good looking. I just got to get on an angle to give that a good tug. Let's see. That should be good. All right, pads are in place. My hands are full of a bit of gunk. This should be okay. Now, I'll go get I'll get the sliders, and we'll put the piston of the caliper on there. Alright, so here's our sliders. Just going to put another bit of grease on there. Alright, and I need shop towel, somewhere clean to lay these. Alright, and there we go. Let's release the caliper piston down, and yeah, okay, everything's alright. Watching the boot here. Make sure that's going on okay. I'll get a slider now. Okay. And now. There we are. Alright. So that is in place. I'll just torque that up a little bit and find my bit. And I'm not going to snug the sliders up this time until I get the new ones tomorrow. There we are. Alright, looks good for now. Like I say, I got to replace those sliders tomorrow. So I got to leave that loose, but everything's assembled and in place. Caliper still needs to be bled. So one thing I will do before we finish off here now is I'm going to gravity bleed this caliper, which is going to fill the caliper most of the way up. And then we'll leave the pressure bleeding for tomorrow. I also got to check this banjo fitting, see if it's leaking. If I can do all the brakes, at least if I drop the truck off to a garage and just say I want all the flex lines on my brakes changed, they shouldn't have to do any of this mess. So it should be just the flex lines, and that should save me money. Right? What I'm doing here is still saving me money as far as I know. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring you guys in closer now, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to bleed this. Alright, so I got you guys zoomed in on the caliper here now, and at the bleeding area, and the banjo fitting. The bleed is just above it. So I'm going to put on a 10mm socket, put it in loosening, and I'm just going to loosen the bleed like so, and I'm going to wait for that to fill up and start oozing. So you're going to wait here with me. It doesn't take too long. Set my socket to closing, be ready. Right, not that I'm going to lose any big amount of brake fluid compared to what I've already lost. Like, I've soaked the place. Alright. Amateur at work here. but it is what it is. Let's take these old zip ties out of here too once that starts to go. The wind is sure picking up here now again. I don't know if you got how much. Oh, there it is. See that? So I'll let that run another little smidge, and then I'll close that off. There. So as of right now, that's gravity bled from the source, filling up the pistons, coming up and reaching the highest point in the caliper seating area. Right? That's why the bleed is all the way up here. It's the uppermost part. So if there's any air bubbles, they should migrate up to that bleed, and then when we bleed it under pressure, should hopefully squirt the bubbles out. Okay? Everything down below should have moved the air to the upper portion. So I'll give that one more little tighten like that, put the nipple cover on it, and that's how she's going to sit for tonight until tomorrow. Oh, I got a little bit of leakage there from somewhere. Let's see. There's just been a little bit stuck in the bleeder that leaked out. Let's see. Let's try now. Seems pretty easy to get a leak in your brake line these days, or around your brake fittings, because holy moly. You know, yeah, mine are rusted to pieces now, but even on this brand new one, this bleed valve, hopefully that's not leaking now, need to be cranked shut. Seems like everything just needs that extra crank on it, but you know, we're all afraid of stripping out screws and stuff. Looks to be okay, I think. I could probably give it one more little. I gotta go at it again tomorrow anyways, doing a real bleed, so let's keep that as is. Everything's connected. Alright, yeah. I think that's about it. Alright, so warning for wind noise. I still got you by the door here again now. You're even closer to the door, but I almost forgot. You gotta clean up these rotors. Get the back as well. There we are. Voila! As for so far, looks like that bleeder valve's going to want an extra little tightening, I think. She's leaking this Starting to lose track of my tools here now at this point in time. My small one is with my 10 on it. It's probably underneath me somewhere. Oh, here it is. Behind me. I'm going to give that bleed valve an extra little crank. Okay. Yeah, so let's leave it here for today. We'll be back tomorrow. I think we should be okay as far as this goes. So with all that now in place, that's going to finish up our day today. As I said, I need to get to Napa tomorrow, get those sliders that unfortunately I already had, and brought them back because I was like, oh, the new calipers got the sliders already. Except they had the stupid Torx ones. And the extras that I had bought were non-Torx. They were just regular bolt head. So I kind of shamed myself on that one, didn't I? But so be it. I got too far ahead of myself, I guess, and should have had more parts on hand and return when the job is done. That would have made more sense. But, you know, it is what it is. But this left one is looking pretty good. I gave that banjo bolt another crank afterwards because I've been given it time, and I did notice a bit of dripping coming down from that one as well. So I gave that another crank, compressed those copper washers another little bit, and I'll see tomorrow now how much is after leaking out, if any. Hopefully not. But again, like I said, I just needed to get back to running condition, driving condition, where most of the work is done, then drop it off to a garage for the flex lines. Alright, that's the idea. You know, hopefully the flex lines are in good enough shape that they'll be able to replace them okay, and all will be well. So that's it for today's video. So you can expect another one tomorrow or the next day, depending on my editing and encoding times. These videos, especially the last one, and this one's likely going to be over an hour by now as well, they take in upwards of 5 to 7 hours just to encode. So I got to be very particular in my editing to make sure I'm done, because one mistake is a 7-hour mistake on the editing process. So taking my time and getting that right before I get it to you guys is important to me as well. But for the most part, this little build series, the brake series, I've really been just leaving as much footage in as I can, because I'm not worried about how many people view the whole video. I just want everything captured, okay? Because this is a learning moment for me. It's important to me, and it helps my confidence and all that to get this job done. So if I can look back on myself in the future and see how much trouble I did get into, but also persisted through, it's kind of a life lesson to remember there, because this is definitely one of the most challenging things I've done in a long time. So it's good to have a record of it. And I'm going to include as much as I can. And I know full well there are those of you out there who love this content. Because you know what? I'm one of them. Right? I watch hour-long videos, 2-hour-long videos. As long as there's action going on and job getting done and seeing someone problem solve and learning from them, it's worth it, right? Worth time invested. And what else are you going to do? Sit back and have a cup of tea and watch the episode, see what you get out of it. Hopefully you're enjoying it. That little scene back on the vise there, that happens. Frustration builds up, but also the excitement of breaking those bolts loose and knowing now that instead of having to bring in a piece of a caliper to Napa or anything like that, I can just go get the sliders and all is well. Okay, so that's where I'm coming from with this. I'm just including everything, alright? I'm including everything I'm doing, and I'm including you guys in my life right now. Like, I'm recording exactly what I'm doing. This is my real life. This is my real life attempt at doing this brake job, and you're watching how it unfolds. There's no scripting, nothing was planned. This is happening exactly like it would if you were doing it, maybe. I might be doing it a little bit different. I could also be doing it wrong. And if you're a mechanic watching this, hats off to you guys. Wow. Yeah, hats off. Alright. You guys dig deep every day to do this kind of stuff. So, that's it. I'm going to finish rambling, and we'll be back tomorrow. So stay tuned, where we probably get into the back brakes. As long as I get this one finished up with some sliders, get this one torqued down, wheel back on, and at that point I may take it for a little test drive just to see how the front brakes are doing. We will see, we will see, we will see. Alright, so until the next video, hope you're happy, hope you're healthy, take care of each other, and peace out.